G'day, Aussie Bonsai Bloke, here you go. Today, got me brother Josh here. We've been out hunting, bonsai hunting on the side of the road. And we got him an olive. This is going to be for him. He wanted a big feature tree and I'm going to help him style it. And over the years, I'm going to keep going back there and helping him style it because he wanted a real big feature tree. And my God, we got ourselves a monster. I don't know how big it is, but pretty cool, pretty massive. Didn't take too long to dig out. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm pretty jealous actually. Now that we've got it here, I feel like I want to keep it, but it's Josh's. And we're going to work on it. So what we're going to do, basically, he wants a big feature tree. You could almost just leave it how it is now and cut it to a shape. But the structure in there is not quite right, so I'm going to cut it back harder now, and then later on it'll make a better tree. But you could, if you wanted to, just, you know, basically just shape it, put it in a pot and have it as a featured tree. But we do want to sort out the structure a little bit. We got this tub here, hopefully it's big enough. Going to pot it up. But first, let's get the chainsaw out. Just have a drink of me ton. Let's have some fun. What do you reckon, Josh? Let's get into it.
Where do you want to hold it?
You hold it.
Do you want me to lay it down?
No, hold it on that side and I'll cut the branch at the top.
Okay.
I'll try not to cut your hand off.
Well, that'd be a bonus.
Yeah. Or maybe, no, actually, maybe come over this other side. I'll hold it there now.
Yeah.
Come over this other side, then I can cut those main branches. And I won't be able to get any hand at all.
Wouldn't be good on a video, blood going everywhere.
Nope, not at all. Right.
Got some free spiders.
Free spiders. Right, let's do it. We're just gonna chop some branches off that we don't want. Every branch stops at the same point. And they're on a fairly flat plane that way. So we want to keep one that's going to the back so it creates some depth. This whole side branch here is just beautiful. We're going to leave that alone and maybe just shorten things a little bit after. But basically I'm just going to chop the main things we need to, the main things on the roots, then we're going to put it in the pot. And then we're going to do some fine tuning after. So let's get the main cuts done. We'll do the top of the tree and then we'll cut the roots and then we'll put in the pot and then do the fine stuff. Let's do it. So that we're a bit safer, I think I'll get the handsaw out. So that's the big cuts done with the chainsaw. Now I'm going to get the handsaw out just to be a bit more careful because I don't want to wreck something that we need to keep.
It's not flat on the bottom.
Is it not flat?
It's got that.
A little bit in the middle. We could probably go a bit harder on it. Alright, lift it back that way. And I'll go a bit harder on that middle bit. Better?
That's better.
Almost.
Look, it stands still. We're done.
Done. So now, we just want to finish cutting this top one off. I got a bit worried that I was going to cut through and wreck the tree, so we'll just cut this top one off a bit. This saw makes pretty light work of it anyway. Pretty happy with the height of that one. This one here I'll just leave, let it bud back. I'll just shorten off some of these branches that are ridiculously long. And then when it all reshoots, hopefully, you know, it does, and we'll end up with a really cool tree. And for not much effort, about, you know, half hour or so, collecting on the side of the road. Not really illegal because it is classed as a weed. So we're just digging away. Yeah. Pull them off. Just shorten that one there. Obviously the one you're holding we will shorten in a minute. This one here coming out of here, we're going to completely get rid of that one. Just coming right out in the middle. And this thing will bud back like absolute mad later on when it recovers. We'll cut it back a bit more, but let's probably just cut back that one that Josh is holding, and then we'll get it in its pot. And then we can just work on it casually without Josh having to hold it. Bloody beauty. What an absolute beast. Magnificent tree. I don't think we can give you a spin, we can try. It's going to be a beast, isn't it, Josh?
You missed that roof where it was all open on the front of the trunk.
Oh.
The dead looking puppy.
Oh yeah, we got this big dead feature in here. You see that big dead feature? So this is actually a sucker that came from one that was poisoned, and this was a sucker off the side that grew up. So I don't know how many years ago it was poisoned, maybe 20 odd years ago. So this could be 20 to 30 years old, depending on when it was poisoned, but pretty cool. The main tree was actually that rotten that it just fell over because it was completely rotted out, and this was a sucker that survived the Roundup or whatever they put on it, and it's healthy now, so it should be fine. Cool. Let's get it in the pot. Alright, you hold that there, Josh. I'll put a bit of soil in from the previous video in the bottom. This is from the maple repot. So let's get her in. Yeah, chuck in a bit of soil. All these bags of pot mix that we've got everywhere. I'll probably save the good potting mix for somewhere near the top. And I'm going to put this cheapo crap in the bottom that I paid about $3 per bag for. That's about it. And you can tell by the quality it is poor. Alright, I think that'll do us. Now, we sort of want to choose the front now, don't we? So this branch at the back here, I'm going to call that the back, or we've both decided that's going to be the back. This nice branch at the back is going to give you some good depth. So we're going to leave that one. And we're going to leave this deadwood as a bit of a feature for the tree. Now you want to hold that, Josh. I'll just walk back a bit. The root system there doesn't look overly good, but if you turn it round a bit, you can still see this nice branch out here. It gives a good depth then because it's side branch but also going back. Then you have your branches coming out the front here, and you'll be able to create a nice good canopy there. Deadwood feature there and some good roots down here. So I don't know, pretty happy with that. And and then we'll just sort of lean it forward a little bit as we plant it, but not too much or it'll just topple over. Pretty happy with that. What do you reckon, Josh? Good?
Yeah, no, fantastic.
Fantastic. Let's do it. I'll just put it in. Right, I'll lift it up, or you lift up that side. And then what we'll do is we'll just corkscrew it around a bit. So you guys won't be able to see the base of the tree again, and neither will we, because we're going to bury it to help aid in the recovery of the tree.
But you'll get to see it later.
We'll get to see it in about 3 years' time, 4 years' time. So catch you later, root system. We'll see you in about 3 or 4 years' time. Because for now, you're gone. So I reckon
They were good looking roots.
yeah, they're coming back. Don't worry, they'll come back in 3 or 4 years. You'll see them again. Bonsai is a slow process, Joshy.
I wanted it yesterday.
It's a slow process, but very rewarding. Right, we'll put in some more of the cheap stuff. Cheap $3 stuff. I know this tree deserves better than cheap, but I don't have enough of the good stuff. So now I'm going to put in the good stuff. Aussie Bonsai Premium, and it'll sort of all mix in and it should be good. Basically, as long as you've got enough drainage, keep it moist but not completely soaked, and it should recover fine. Shouldn't be an issue. I would have done a video on the collecting, but we just wanted to get the tree and get the heck out of there. So no video on the collecting, but that's all good.
Nicely pushed down.
Quite firm. Push it, even with your knuckles, really give it a good push down. Because basically you just want to stop it from rolling out the pot. And we can actually drill some holes and do some guide wires to hold it in the pot nicely.
Well, not very camera friendly. I keep putting my back on the bloody thing.
Oh, she's all good. I do it all the time. Right. Floor. Fill her up. Fill her up, spread her out, pack her in. As easy as it is. Now we've buried it quite deep, so it should be
too deep, or?
no, I don't think there's such a thing as too deep. I think we're good. That's sort of that depth is all good.
So I won't get the tree later on when you.
No, so later on what will happen is most of the roots will grow from that bottom cut and grow out.
Yeah.
Not from the actual side of the trunk, they'll actually grow from the very bottom. And also some of this soil will wash out and sink over time anyway. So yeah, it's not too deep, it's all good. Done?
Done them fall over.
Done them fall over. Feels pretty solid, but I think what I'll do is I'll drill some holes and we'll put a couple of guide wires in. So I'll just get the drill. G'day guys, welcome back. Have another ton. Have some fun. Right, so basically, tie downs. Just going to drill some holes in the corner. After repotting this up, already drilled the holes, I'm just showing you each corner. Drill a hole. After having a good look on the camera, I decided this is probably going to be a better front for his tree, just because of the branch structure. The root system is better like that, but the branch structure is not quite as good unless you had a really nice strong one coming out here. So maybe in future a really strong one could be let to just grow flat out, for 3 or 4 years, and it might end up with a nice fat base, and then that could definitely be the front. But you do need something out here for that to be the front. For now, it's probably looking its best about like that, but it's not a big concern right now because it can be turned and changed when it gets repotted. Not a big deal at all. Just grabbing some scissors. So basically the plan now that it's potted up is just to shorten a lot of these branches after we've done the tie downs. So basically tie downs, put on a bit of this dripper tube. Just to protect the branches, and then I'm just going to tie it around the main branch. Now we're not trying to bend or do anything here, all we're doing is trying to make the copper wire quite firm so that the tree can't move around, and then when it's recovering it won't move around and rip off any new root growth. If you couldn't tie it into a pot, you might think about putting it next to a bench and screwing it onto the bench like what I did with me boxthorn, because you can also do that. Put it next to a bench, put a brace across, and then just screw it into the trunk or something to brace. But in this case, we can definitely put guide wires onto the pot. Yeah, so when you get a tree this big, you're talking a lot of potting mix, big pot. My brother's planning on putting it into a half wine barrel, I think, something like that. So in that case, it'll be a sort of a feature tree where you can walk around the whole thing, and there will be no actual front. And we'll style it accordingly as far as style it so that it'll look good from all sides. So in the future, that'll be the plan. But for now, the plan is just to get it to survive, and then we do a bit of fine tuning later as far as the branch structure and all that. We've set the main branch structure now. You know, that's done. The main chainsawing and cutting off is done. Now we've just got to let it survive. Do a bit of light trimming. Just put on a bit more fish tube here. And while we're there, I did cut another little tree for myself. Couldn't help myself. I wouldn't have normally collected the little tree that I did, but it was right where we were digging this one. That branch is broken. Right where we were digging this one, there was another little tree, so I dug that too. So I'm going to repot that. If I didn't dig it, I just cut it off. I called that an elephant's foot because it's like a club foot. I'll show you that one in a second. We'll just finish wiring it in. These are root scissors, so they can handle a bit of abuse, cutting a bit of wire. No worries at all. So we're going to guide wires in. Brother's already outside, he's lost interest. No, not really. He's just chatting to the wife. Outside. Alright, let's tie this in. Okay, so that's going to make it pretty solid, and it's pretty well. The guide wire's done. It'll be pretty solid in that pot. See, the whole pot's moving with it. Pretty good. Good enough. Done, and we're going to carefully carry it to a spot where it can't hopefully get blown around too much. Now, next job is just to go around and cut unwanted things off. Probably going to leave the length of all this other stuff. Literally just going to chop back some of the heavier branches now with my heavier snips. And then use the scissors after. Okay, so this will actually bring it back a bit as far as it won't look as good now with these branches cut off, because with those branches on, it did make it look like, it did actually make it look like a bit of a tree, you know, even though they weren't quite, the structure wasn't quite there. It does actually add to it. You cut it all back like this, and in the short term it's going to look worse than it did before I cut all these little ones off. 100% definitely. But in the long run, it's going to give you a much better structure. So basically we're just going to chop all these really long straight things back a bit, and also it'll give the tree less things to look after, if you know what I mean, less growth, less leaves, so it'll have, you know, less water loss due to the leaves. And I'll leave these leaves on, and these leaves will give me a bit of a guide as to how the tree is recovering. So if I see that the leaves are all died off and browned up, I know that it's seriously struggling. But if you get a really healthy olive, when it actually recovers, it can actually hold a lot of those green, leaves, and they don't even die off. If it recovers really well, and within not too long at all, like I'm talking 3 or 4 weeks, you can start to see new shoots coming out, and then it's just all forward from there. And like I've said in the past, the main boost of energy you get is from when you first collect it. Do all your hard cuts on the bottom, do all your hard cuts on the top, because that's going to be your main time to, your best chance at being able to cut it back to where you want it and having it survive. If you were to try and keep a lot of this stuff on now and then decide you didn't want it later, it's probably going to put more stress on the tree later than if you did it now. So a lot of these ones down the bottom here, I'm going to cut them back shorter, but I am going to leave a few leaves down there, like I say, just to help give me an idea of the health of this tree. So what can happen is the branches at the top can lose their leaves, but then the ones close to the base don't seem to. Occasionally you can have it so the whole lot doesn't lose any of these leaves, but give me an indication. And if it does lose all the leaves over the whole thing, even the bottom, still don't stress out, because quite often they'll do that. They'll drop every single leaf, even at the bottom, and then over time they will swell up. You just watch the buds, they'll swell up and then they'll shoot out. As long as you can scratch the bark and there's still green underneath, it's still possible to shoot out. An olive can take up to 18 months to shoot out. I have done that before. I think the longest one for me was about a year, and then it decided to shoot. So never give up on them. Just keep the soil moist, not too wet. Don't give up. Alright, so let's push that one to the side for a second. I think that one's done. Next one is this elephant's foot. This one. This is my elephant's foot. Normally I wouldn't collect such a, I don't know, crazy, weird, ugly looking tree, to be honest. But it can actually produce a good tree in time. If I cut this at an angle and it buds out and I end up creating branching, I can actually still get an okay tree in the future. So we've got to work out exactly where we want the front where we would want a front branch, where it gives us the most character in the trunk, and then basically just chop it off from there. So what I will do is where I decide to chop it off, I might use my little silky saw to show you how sharp these things are. I could use a chainsaw. I don't know where my silky saw is, so can't find it. Here, down it. Right, I'll show you how sharp these things are. So let's go for it. Done. Whew. Right, that's it. There's the elephant's foot. I was worried I didn't press record then. Look at that ugly thing. One cool thing too, you can sort of see how old this is. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 years old, this sucker. So because it had the strength of the main root system, it's probably only a 7-year-old sucker. So that one there, I think a good guess of 20 odd years would be about right. So there we go. Bit puffed because that was a big cut to do with a little saw, and the sap on the olive gunks up the saw, so it made it a bit hard. Right, I'm going to pot that one up. I've shown you how to pot up, so I'm not going to show you that. So I think what I'll do is we'll put that stuff aside, put the elephant's foot to the side. I'll get Adrian Eggleton's spinning tree turntable. I'll get a big one. Alright, so I've got his big one. This massive turntable. Put it in the middle. Now, this design-wise, this tree can literally, it's such a nice tree that it can literally be done any angle. Don't know if you can see, but there's all these buds here just waiting to push, and I reckon they'll be some of the first to go. All these lumps are ready to just push out. Yeah, the you know, tree will probably be around there somewhere, but it could be anywhere. It's such a cool tree to walk around, and it's going to end up being a super masterpiece. And to be honest, I'm actually quite jealous. So well done, Josh. We found you a good tree, mate, and should be a really cracking tree. And I'll be able to do updates on the tree, go to his place and work on it, and do some updates. No worries. We'll just go and get my brother and we'll do a bit of an outro. Cheers.
Don't do it.
You can say it, but you can't swear. Not allowed to swear.
Crikeys. You say crikeys?
All right. Cheers, Josh, for a fun day.
Yeah. Thanks for wrecking my tree.
Yep, I wrecked it. He doesn't like it. I've trimmed it off and wrecked it. It does look like crap, and I did say that in the video. It'll look like crap when I'm finished. But anyway, cheers for watching, everyone. Cheers, Josh.
Happy days.
Happy days. Have fun with your ton. Right, we'll give you a spin on the way out, and I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers for all your support and comments. Cheers. Bloody beauty.